Continuing our election coverage right now, let's head to Union County. We're about 3 hours out from precincts closing. Voters continuing to make their voices heard, that's for sure. WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg live there with the latest on how it's going in Union County. All right, the line looks pretty long out there, Meg.
It really is long. And, you know, we got here about 3:30 this afternoon, and it just continues to get longer and longer. A couple just walked out. I spoke with them. They say they waited in line for about an hour. But I want you to take a look at this. Look at all the cars over this way just lined up. There's really no room to park around here, so the cars go all the way to the other street. And according to Union County, there are more than 7,000 people registered to vote at this polling place. At Mineral Springs, one Union County resident told me they waited for about an hour at 10 a.m. this morning. And earlier today, we went to Hemby Bridge Elementary, which is another polling spot. At lunchtime, many people were waiting in line. I spoke with several people on why they are voting today. Here's what they had to say.
I know I could have early voted. This is the day to be here.
I always go on election day. Somehow it feels more official. I don't know. But I always go on election day. And man, what a gorgeous day to stand in line.
So since we've been out at several of these polling places, it's been pretty smooth today. There are about 170,000 people registered to vote right here in Union County. Reporting live in Union County, Megan Bragg, WCNC Charlotte.
And Megan, of course, you're going to keep an eye on that for us, so thanks so much. Let's turn to that tight North Carolina U.S. Senate race. Republican Ted Budd and Democrat Cheri Beasley, they've been neck and neck for months now. Both, of course, hoping for a last-minute push to help them secure North Carolina's Senate seat. WCNC Charlotte's Brianna Harper joining us live now from the Beasley campaign party in Raleigh. So the emotions there, I'm sure, they're pretty high, although are they showing that? What are they feeling as those results are preparing to come in?
So, Carolyn, the election party hasn't started just yet. In fact, Cheri Beasley actually started her election day in Fayetteville, doing one last campaign push at the polls. But tonight, that election party will be taking place here in downtown Raleigh with her and her team. Now, this North Carolina Senate race, it could be historic if Beasley does, in fact, get the win. She's the first African-American woman nominated for this role. And with the win, she could become North Carolina's first black senator. So how did we get here today? Here's a look at Beasley's background, including first being a former public defender, a judge, and the first African-American woman to serve as Chief of Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. Well, during that role, Beasley also created the first human trafficking court in North Carolina. And although Beasley is running as a Democrat in this race, throughout her entire campaign, she's never made an appearance with President Biden, and she's also been sure to distance herself from ideas like defund the police. Now, coming up at 5, we'll take a look at where Beasley stands on some of the top major issues in this year's midterm elections. Reporting live in downtown Raleigh, Brianna Harper, WCNC, Charlotte.
Thanks so much. And on the Republican side, Ted Budd hoping to come out on top and keep that seat red. WCNC Charlotte's Chloe Leschner joining us live from his campaign headquarters in Winston-Salem. All right, Chloe, what's going on?
Hey, Carolyn. Yeah, Ted Budd made one final loop around the state today in our viewing area, stopping in Mooresville at a polling place to chat with voters there before they cast their ballot. He, of course, is expecting and hoping to celebrate a victory here in Winston-Salem tonight. But the results of this race will determine, in partly, the balance of power in the U.S. Senate. And typically, it is the president's party who loses seats in a midterm. Now, so for some history, some context on how U.S. Senate races have gone in North Carolina, a Democrat has not won a U.S. Senate seat in the Tar Heel state since 2008. The last one to do it was Kay Hagan, and that was also the last time a Democratic presidential nominee won in North Carolina. To tell you more about Budd, he was elected to North Carolina's 13th congressional district in 2016 and has been reelected twice. Before that, he worked as an investment analyst and is an owner of a gun range and store. He's more conservative than Republican Senator Richard Burr, who will be replaced by tonight's winner. And his record shows he's a bit more conservative than Senator Thom Tillis. Budd has the endorsement of former President Donald Trump and voted against certifying the results of the 2020 election. Polling has consistently shown Budd and his opponent Cheri Beasley neck and neck, but most recently Budd has inched out ahead.
There is this feeling of like, well, the Democrat will probably come close again, but not close enough. And I would be lying if I didn't say I kind of have that feeling myself. That said, I would not be shocked if Sherry Beasley won. I'd probably be a little bit surprised, but it is certainly well within the realm of possibility. But, I think, to be fair, you'd have to say that Ted Budd has got to be considered favored right now.
So Beasley's campaign has far outraised Budd's, but that is offset by the substantial outside spending against her. Again, we are expecting a close race here tonight, and we are expecting Congressman Ted Budd to be here at one point later in the evening. For now, live in Winston-Salem, Chloe Leschner, WCNC Charlotte.
Chloe, thanks so much. And this midterm election coming with high stakes as both parties are vying for control of Congress. Some of the big races happening across the country include the Georgia Senate race, where Senator Raphael Warnock is facing off against Herschel Walker, and then the Pennsylvania Senate race, putting Dr. Mehmet Oz against John Fetterman. WCNC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden joining us live now from the Digital Center. Okay, so we're talking balance of power, the congressional seats that are up for grabs. What are you seeing, Michelle?
Well, Caroline, it really doesn't get any closer than this when it comes to the balance of power. It is literally a 50-50 split in the Senate, has been for the last 2 years. So the Republicans need to just flip one seat in the Senate. In the House, it's just 5 seats. That's also a razor-thin margin. So take a look. There are really 3 key races. You started to mention 2 of them there that pretty much all analysts agree it's going to come down to tonight. We're talking about Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Arizona. Now, in Pennsylvania, this is one we've really been hearing a lot about in recent weeks, where both Democrat John Fetterman and his Republican opponent, Dr. Mehmet Oz, both sort of stumbled a bit during their debate. Fetterman, because he is still recovering from a stroke. Dr. Oz, he made some controversial comments about abortion being between a woman and her local government. So that race, people believe, neck and neck still at this point. Switching now to our neighbors closer to us there in Georgia, really another key battleground state, with Democrat incumbent Raphael Warnock facing off against football star Herschel Walker in a race that also many believe is just simply too close to call, and in fact may actually not be called tonight. That's because Georgia is a state where the winner has to net 50% of the vote plus 1. If that doesn't happen, that goes to a runoff vote. That runoff vote not going to be held until after Thanksgiving. We're talking December 6th. So we all may not know this true balance of power all the way until then. Last one that a lot of people really have a close look on, Arizona, very much in play tonight. Democratic incumbent Mark Kelly fighting to hang on to his seat there, facing off against Republican Blake Masters. Polling recently has them very much in a dead heat. So really nationwide, analysts seem to agree that it's between 9 and 10 states that everyone is watching, just sort of razor-thin margins. Among those states that people are watching, North Carolina, you heard that there in Chloe's report just before me. They said it seems like it's still a tight race. So a lot of people still watching North Carolina. Again, 9 to 10 races. We're going to be watching them all night tonight here in the Digital Center. Reporting in the Digital Center, Michelle Bowden, back to you.
Michelle, thanks so much. We know that you've got your eye on all of them. And stay right here with NBC, because there's some special coverage of election night. Lester Holt, Savannah Guthrie, they're going to have the results that you're going to want to hear about first. NBC News correspondents covering the close races all across the country, the ones Michelle was talking about. They're going to bring you real-time updates, analysis, everything you need. The coverage starts at 8 o'clock right here on WCNC Charlotte.